So my name is Brendan Stover. I'm one of two contract manufacturing quality managers for Ferrara. And what I manage the co-man space from a quality food safety aspect. So that means ensuring they're compliant with regulatory requirements, auditing requirements, managing our own internal requirements. I've only been with Ferrara about a year, but I've always been tapped for this is enterprise software. We want you to implement it. I think this is my third TraceGains implementation. Really adapt and change your own ways of working to fit the tool. I would say that is getting the buy-in and really engaging the functions and seek to understand of what is hard for them. What improvement could they see out of this? An example like procurement. Procurement doesn't live in TraceGains, but something we've had to do before I came on, which actually was a benefit of this. We kind of had to do some back work to overhaul our data we eventually were going to upload into TraceGains. Because we had, for example, parent-child is something you really need. We only had the parent. And there was really no push in organization to really break that out further until we went this route with implementing this software solution. And I basically presented, this has to happen. I'm not going to go any further unless this happens. I ended up owning it, but still, at the end of the day, we were able to provide that transparency on the granularity of really where our ingredients are coming from at the parent-child level. The audit management module we're implementing right now is really going to cut a lot of the clerical work we're doing because everything was very archaic. But I like the variables we did in the attributes. For example, we live in a constant fluxing world. So we have something called the Ferrara resource, the person that owns that site. But due to bandwidth of existing resources, you might not be able to complete that audit at the prescribed frequency. So then we added in a different attribute just called Ferrara Auditor that is free form. So let's say I own this site, but a fellow associate is going to conduct the audit. So you at least have an audit trail, who owns it, who actually did the audit. Or if that changes, you could change that auditor. Also, we have kind of prescribed turnaround limits on corrective actions, which was kind of a pain to manage via email. Now it's all streamlined in TraceGains, where it's just, hey, we set up email pings at day 7 before it expires and the day of. We have all preliminary notifications for major critical nonconformances prior to them becoming an approved date where we align. So I thought that was really neat. My director liked that a lot too, to help, because we have a lot of audits, a lot of sites. So to just streamline that way of working that much just improves the bandwidth drain on the individual. Doing the cleric work. Now they can really focus on what's strategic rather than typing away. Change your own way of working to modify or mirror more the out-of-box solution to make it work and streamline. So it's easier to roll out, it's easier to manage, and I would say definitely listen to your CSM, because a lot of my success was me and my CSM being in that room and kind of curtailing the conversation when there's an out-of-box solution. We don't need to create a custom solution. And eventually you start to see that atmosphere and change, and you don't get as much pushback. You start seeing people like, oh, that's easier. We just do it this way. Or like, oh yeah, see, that's why we'll just stick with the out-of-box solution. And also definitely read through the TG forums, because I would say your first initial pushback is going to be like, yeah, but we have this form. Yeah, but there's data components within a TG form where it's asking the same question. So let's use that and do away with the other form. I presented the same, how I'm saying it now is how I told my senior leaders. If we want to be truly agile and be dynamic in the confectionery space, we need to start implementing these sort of solutions and stop living in the old way of working. The team bought in, and I think it was already known before then, we needed a solution to kind of resolve a lot of this. Just seeing the doc management alone, the amount of time I'd be spending with that, it's just a tremendous amount of work for such a small piece of go-to-market processes for ramp up in commercial. So I would say it's definitely allowed me to reduce a massive amount of clerical aspect that's allowed me to focus more on strategic, value-added initiatives, either directly or indirectly with my co-mans.